Welcome to the Swirl Suite, everybody. This week, our special guest is Kodjo. He is an Italian wine ambassador in Africa. He tells us about his journey from finance to wine and what he's doing with all of his knowledge now. His story is absolutely amazing, and he's a brilliant guy. We hope you enjoy the show. Cheers. Welcome to the Swirl Suite, everybody. Happy Wine Wednesday. Hey, ladies.
Hello. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone.
How y'all doing?
Doing fine. Praying for our folk in Texas, though.
I'm telling you.
It's one thing to have ice and snow, but didn't have rolling brownout, and you get no blackout, brownout, whatever they call it, and you don't have any heat to go with it. It's another whole dynamic. So hopefully they got some red wine and a good fireplace.
I'm telling you, my family in Ohio, they got 12 inches.
Wow.
That's crazy.
We're supposed to get something like that come Thursday. Have you ever been watching the news?
Yeah.
Yeah. But is it really supposed to be that much? I just thought it was more of the usual ice and snow.
It depends. It keeps fluctuating when you look at the model. One model said 12, then as it goes up in the Jersey, said 20. I was like, wait, that's
wow.
enough.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, so I must go to the grocery store tomorrow, just in case. Just in case.
Just a little something.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarita, when you say that, I am really surprised you have not embraced Instacart.
I don't want to pay for that. Like I'm willing and able to go to the store. It's fine. I go early in the morning. I'm usually at Wegmans between 6 and 6:30. Wow. I'm that person. So it's not like there's a whole lot of people around. I can't justify to myself why I would use Instacart quite yet. So.
Oh, I am a disciple.
I used it at the beginning of the COVID.
Yeah.
Or March, April.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First got on lockdown. Then I was like, when I wanted to order something heavy, I was like, hold up, no.
Smart. Very smart.
Like, no, I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do have an account. I do have an account for my grandmother in case we can't get to the store and get her what she needs.
Mm-hmm.
I have an account for her.
I started it because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they have like a membership where you pay, I think, $100 or what have you. And so then your Instacart fee is significantly reduced every time you do it, right?
Yeah.
And so they have not made any money on me. Let me just say that.
That sounds like has it paid for itself? Okay.
Oh my God, it pays. And then I just look at it like I didn't have to drive there. I didn't have to wait online.
Yeah.
The time that I just saved by just sitting at my computer and clicking it is worth the savings.
Got you.
Because of the time factor.
Yeah.
And I admit, it's not 100% perfect. They, make substitutions and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at, driving from where I am to the nearest grocery store, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And they don't have a partnership with Trader Joe's.
No, and
they don't.
That's the problem. Now, Trader Joe's, we might have had a little bit more of a better relationship.
Yeah.
They did have a partnership. But we ain't gonna go into my little idiosyncrasies when it comes to food. So I'm only ordering, if I order from Instacart, it's definitely like packaged products. I need to see my fruit. I need to see my meat. I can't do it.
That's fair. I totally get that.
You totally get that. Hands on.
Mm-hmm. So we have a special guest today, and he is wow. When y'all hear all the things that he's done and all the things that he is doing, you're going to be so impressed. Kodjo, welcome to the Swirl Suite.
Welcome. Come back. Come out wherever you are.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you got a nice background and everything now.
Very nice.
I do. Great. Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me here. Greetings from Accra, Ghana.
I want to go.
Yes. So yeah, It's great to speak with you guys. I'm happy to know that you exist in the wine space and um, take your place because there's a place for you, no matter what anybody says. So I'm happy to join you guys to have a conversation.
Yeah. I have to ask, what is the weather like there?
It's the highs are like 91, 92.
Wow.
And the lows are like 80. Yeah.
Oh,
The
yes.
lows are like
Oh
80,
man.
82.
So,
Wow.
what time is it
So
there now, actually?
it's we're GMT right now, so it's 10:08 p.m.
Oh
So
wow.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
That's not too
yeah.
bad.
No, the time
Oh
difference, that's not bad at
yeah.
all.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
Huh.
It's and this is the longest it usually so we did we fell back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you fall back in the US,
Mm-hmm.
East Coast is 5 hours difference, and when you spring forward is 4 hours.
4
Oh
hours.
wow.
Yeah.
That's not
Huh.
too
So
Yeah,
not
that's
too
not
bad.
bad at all.
It's like
bad.
going to the West Coast, but with one
Yeah.
hour,
That's right.
an additional
That's
hour.
right.
So yeah,
That's right. That's right.
Huh. How about that? So
Yeah.
Kodjo, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Okay. So my name is Kodjo. I go by Wine Kodjo in the wine world. Um, Originally from Ghana. I left here after high school and then came to the U.S.,
Okay.
specifically Hampton, Virginia.
Did you go to?
So I did, I
really.
did, I did, I did
You went to
undergrad
the
at
other
Hampton.
HU.
I
Okay.
went to the real HU. Don't tell me. I
No,
mean, once you guys know how to play some football, then we can
no,
talk
that's okay. You did HIU. Always remember that. And you are the Lutheran sister of. It's always 1867.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, but yeah, I went to Hampton, my home by the sea. I loved Hampton. I'm grateful for the experience at Hampton. It was
Excellent.
for me, it was a welcoming place,
Oh,
and it
nice.
served me well in my many years in the U.S. So 25 years in the U.S. Worked in the financial sector on Wall Street. Um, so Hampton, University of Chicago, worked in finance for many, many years, went back to school, got an MBA from Yale and decided to come home, set up a private equity fund.
Oh, nice.
So that's
Higher.
what I do now.
We can answer phones. We can answer phones.
Answer phones, carry bags. I'll be a girl Friday. I might let you have a little bit of that real HU, but we know
Yeah,
original.
well, I mean, we tried. I mean, you have one on us because you have the first vice president, all that good stuff. So we're all family now. There's no competition
HBCU,
anymore, except maybe at the
Okay.
football game.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's right. So that's sort of my experience when I was in banking, specifically on the trading floor of a major bank in the U.S. I felt like I was good enough to really be a managing director and be up there with people who were literally my age, but I was reporting to them. I was doing well. I made a lot of money, but uh, I just, some of them would tell you, look, you're smarter than me, you're very good. But of course, the only reason I couldn't get in there because I wasn't welcome in there. It's not our space, right? So it kind of bothered me. After a while, you start believing maybe I'm not good enough. So that's how I took to wine, um, because I wanted to prove to myself that I was good at something and I could really get to the top. I'd done that a couple of years earlier when I started biking, and I would bike. I would do century events around the U.S., Lake Tahoe, Houston or Austin a lot of times. But then that movie Psalm came out, and Wall Street. There was an article in the New York Times or Wall Street Journal that talked about how it became a thing on trade floors in banking in Wall Street, where they were like, "Come on, this can't be harder than what we do every day." That was me. That was one of people like me were like, "Okay, this can't be that hard because what I do every day is super complicated." So yeah, I had been just nominal drinker of wine. I got to the point where I could tell the difference in a glass between Merlot and Cabernet, and obviously Pinot Noir. But once I decided to go into that, it became an obsession. It became a thing. I wanted to prove so many things to myself first and to other people, and that started me off in the wine world.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's
Wow.
incredible story. That is just
I mean, man.
It's always interesting to hear how people got started in the wine world. And one thing that I noticed is a common thread is their current professional career wasn't fulfilling. And the not just the wine to go to, because I don't want to think that we all have an issue, but just the community and the history and the story behind wine draws you in. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people there in developing a career in wine.
And that was the case for me as well. You touch on so when I went into wine, I had a clear choice. I wanted to focus because I wanted to be good. I wanted to prove something, right? I wanted to show that I was so good. So I had to choose an area. I had to choose a country of focus. Obviously, Italy and France being the dominant old world markets, still the dominant by volume and also by value, right? So those two, I wanted to choose one of them, and I settled on Italy because it was more approachable. I felt more comfortable. I've been in Italy several times. I had some family who lived there, and I felt Italians, particularly more African, in their approach to things.
You speak Italian?
No, not really. I'm very fluent in the wine, but not the language.
That's all that matters.
So I studied. I went to Texas Wine School. I was living in Houston. Went to Texas Wine School, and did the specialization in Italian wine specialist certification. It was really good experience. Made good friends. And then I was looking for more. It's always this thing. So I applied to the school in Italy. I hadn't told my teacher. I'd actually applied before I told him. He's like, listen, if you don't get in, don't be disappointed, because the person who wrote the book for the class you're in right now went to that school last year. So it's okay if you don't get in, because you're still very new to this wine thing, and it's not your career. Long story short, the manager or the head of the education for that school in Vinitaly Academy, also a physician in his previous life, left in the medical practice to do wine. So he understood where I was coming from. He told me a lot later that they came to me and they said, should we let this guy in? And and he said, hey, why not? Like, what the hell? Let's let him in. And that was it. I was the only one not working in wine, and I was obviously the only Black person, still the only Black person, but who's certified. But they fly you to Verona. You spend about 3 weeks studying and tasting wines, and then the exam comes in. Very tough exam. Only 46% of the class passed, 50 people from around the world.
Wow.
Long story short, my last name starts with an A. So when they mentioned the names of the people who passed, I was screaming and jumping up and down because it was tough, but you left that exam not knowing whether you passed or not, for sure. And the guy who wrote the exam took pride in knowing that you left not knowing if you passed or not.
Oh, wow.
But I was happy to be one of 22 of the 50 who passed. And it just sort of kicked up my journey into the wine world a little more seriously. And yeah, that's my story.
Interesting. Can I ask a question about the exam? Now, was the exam theory, multiple choice, and tasting, or how did they test?
So the interesting thing about Italian wine that most, maybe most people don't know, a lot of people don't know. So Italian wines are produced from 435 grapes, right? Mm-hmm. Compared to French wines produced from about 15 grapes. Mm-hmm. So for so long, the wine world has been defined by what is French, right? Mm. If you could taste the difference between Petrus and all the the Grand Cru and the Premier Cru, if you could taste Petrus, or you could taste Margaux, or you could taste Lafite and Latour and know the difference, because after a while you get used to the winemakers and all the finer points of these houses, mm-hmm. right? You become an expert in a very confined space. In Italian wine, you're dealing with every region is almost a whole country on its own. And the truth is, Italy was never a country until the 1860s, when they pieced it together. And it's still not this one big, it's a country on the map and all, but it's a lot of regions. Mm-hmm. And they're tied to their foods. And they only drink wines that are very specific to the foods they eat in there. So the wine is not a bougie thing. This is our meal. This is part of our food. And the French took it to another level. The long and short of it is that as a result, testing in Italy is much different from testing in France. You're looking to see if you can tell what's in the glass. In Italy, you're looking to see whether you know the finer point of the native grapes. Mm. There's actually over 2,000 of them, and they make wines from 435 of them. So you're looking at, our test had things like, I'm sitting by the ocean and I'm eating this food and I'm drinking a white wine. By the town that is mentioned, you're supposed to be able to tell what wine the guy is drinking with his food.
Get it?
Yes.
Wow. That's it. That's a class in itself.
Yeah.
Right. It really is.
That's a whole different set of skills that I personally don't have.
Right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
When I meet Italians, when they tell me where they're from, the one thing I tell them, especially if they're old enough to actually get to that point where you really want to enjoy wine every lunch and dinner, they're always, you know about these wines. I'm like, yeah, I can almost tell you what you had for lunch or, dinner, or with the wine you had with your food. So
you better watch out. They're gonna think you're a sorcerer.
Some of them do because it's so you can imagine your little corner of maybe your family, right? Your little corner of your town. Right. You have a thing you do that you don't think anybody knows. Mm-hmm. You can imagine when you go to other regions, they don't know anything about what they do. So for some foreign guy and a black guy at that to come and actually know what we do and what we drink, like, what are you talking about? That's really the experience.
Wow.
It must be easy. Not like that part isn't easy, but you know how people always ask you, well, what food do I have with this particular wine? Because wine is so local.
Yes.
And it's easy to say, oh yes, this is a great food pairing, which exactly. Sometimes we struggle in other regions. Yeah,
exactly. You're right. You're I think that the study in Italy, of course I know other regions, but studying Italy particularly gives you, the moment somebody says I'm having some seafood, I'm thinking all the coast and everything they're drinking, whether it's the Positano and this coast, the West Coast, or it's the East Coast, where you're probably drinking Trebbiano or one of these white wines they have. You're drinking Pecorino, so you could go on and on. But yeah, it lends to an easy pairing because over there they didn't try. It just meshed with their food, and they're like, "This is what we're gonna do. You can keep the other grapes, right? This is what we're gonna do," and that's what stuck. And you know, um, Ian Diagata, who was a teacher, would tell you all these stories of some guy growing wine. They grow all these grapes, and they don't even know what the grape they're growing, right? And then at some point, somebody tells them, "Oh, the name of it is this," and then they keep going with that name, and it turns out when you do the test, it's actually not that great.
Wow.
Because then this is Italy, you know. Italy is okay, it fits our food, it's part of our food. Do we really need to know the name? Do we need to know the science behind it? We know every year the grape grows, and we make wine from it, and you know, we enjoy our food.
Huh.
Yeah.
So what happened after you took the exam? You came back home and you did what next?
Well, I came back home and I, you know, still we continued in banking, um, but then I knew I needed to leave. Eventually, went back to school with the hope of coming to Ghana. So I was based in Houston, so I would participate. They would call me in when the Italian Chamber came to Houston. I would do a lot of tasting, but it was hard to find a role that fit, right? Because the job of being on the trade floor and being the global head of a unit, it was very demanding. I would go to New York, I would go to London. My boss was out of London office. So you do these 8 to 8 p.m.s, right? So you can barely do anything else. Um, I would actually go to the Whole Foods guy to learn what he's tasting because the Whole Food guy was tasting more than I was because the buyer for Whole Foods would taste several wines a day. So in a week, he would taste at least 50 to 100. So I would go to him and start picking off his mind on what, you know, what he was drinking because I didn't have the opportunity to be drinking that many things because the demands of my work. But I knew that would change once I came back to the continent where there's not so much of a knowledge base because the truth is wine only grows from latitude 30 to 50 and and most of the continent the vibrant part is is, um, is outside of that range. So yeah, I had to wait till I came back to really get into wine. That's when but you know, not to be confused in the US, I was partnering with Up in the Air. You've probably seen them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Claire. Claire is a
Claire.
good friend of
Yeah,
mine.
sure.
Yes. The Black
Julia.
Professionals in Wine. Julia was the
Oh,
one who
yeah.
actually introduced me to Claire.
Okay.
Julia's
How
Ah,
about
yeah,
that?
okay.
yeah. So Julia's, you know, I mean you know, that's my girl. Very connected, very nice and warm person. Um, she hooked me up with so many people in the wine space. But when she met me, she was like, "Oh, I need to introduce you to Claire. You need to come on our trips to Italy." So when Up in the Air did a trip to Italy for 2 years or 3 years, I was the wine specialist. I would do
Okay.
the welcome dinner. We
Oh,
would go to Bologna. So then I used my connections in Italy to get us into certain vineyards. We went to Allegrini in the Valpollicela, so you're dealing with a lot of Amarone and all of that. But it was my goal to give them a very uh, good introduction to wine and food pairings and what have you. And it was fun, but that has so in the meantime in the US, that's what I was doing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I already spent a lot of time in Italy, so it was natural, easy to fit that role.
Hmm. Wow. It's a small world.
Very, very.
mm-hmm.
So you became the first person of African descent to qualify as an Italian wine ambassador. How
Yeah.
did that happen?
Yeah, this was the story about going there and taking the exam.
Oh, so that was your
Um,
title after you
that
took the
was my
test.
yes. I became
Got it.
officially, and I'm still within that group. There's still it's about 100, maybe 20 of us now, who intimately know Italian wine, and
Hmm.
we get called back every year. I had a presentation this year to the group about African Italian wines in Africa,
Hmm.
how they could fit, you know, how I feel like there are natural synergies, all that stuff.
Interesting.
Can you talk about that? Can you talk about the natural synergy?
I'll probably send you guys a presentation later.
Oh, that'd be great.
It's a whole presentation, but
Got you.
The parallels that I draw are with with the culture, the togetherness. If we say African Americans are, direct descendants of mostly West Africans, then you can see where a lot of the culture comes from. Right. We're a fun-loving people, and there's always a reason to celebrate. So wine fits as more than even European cultures, where it's all, mostly they like to, it's mostly the family is defined by in Europe by more of a unit, my wife and kids. But in Africa, West Africa, it's a big thing. You do a party and there's only 50 people, there's something wrong with your party. So as a result, I talk about, I have the whole presentation. I talked about the fact that if you were here in Africa, even if you didn't have money to buy wine, you would drink wine because your rich uncle would have a party, and for which you are welcome to go, and it would be your connection to wine. Right. We can't have you don't have those parallels in the Western culture, because the party is gonna cut off at 20 people. Over here, legitimately, Nigerians, Ghanaians, West Africa, I call it the jollof rice belt. You could have a party.
I love that.
You could have a party of hundreds of people, 200, 300, 400 people, and that's just a 40th birthday or a 50th birthday, where if you never had money to buy a bottle of wine, you could do that. I also talk about the diversity of Italian wines, and the fact that it fits neatly with, as much as jollof rice is common for a lot of the culture, there's other things, and even a particular meal. I use the example of gumbo and etouffee, and the fact that in each of these you have so much going on. It's not an accident. This is the West African. Yeah, I mean, they put butter in it and then they said it was French, right? But but the truth is that when my mom makes the equivalent of the original version of that, there's the seafood going on, there's fish going on, there's meat going on. How do you then begin to? It's not a meat and potatoes thing, right? Where you say the meat pairs with this and it's not. It's a whole lot going on. And then depending on how mom or grandma is feeling when she cooks that meal, one of these ingredients is stronger than the other.
Yeah.
So it never tastes the same time. I mean, if you like medium rare steak, most of the time your steak is gonna be the same, right? And your fries is always fries, right? So if that's your meal in the West, in Africa, there's a whole lot of things going on. Depends on what is in season, what time of month it is.
Don't leave out the spices.
Oh yeah, then the spices. So again, depending on how mom is feeling that day, the strength of the spices, the dimension of it, depending on what is in season, we could go on and on and on. So it makes for interesting process of pairing. It's not simple anymore. You can't just say, "Hey, I think this will pair with this very well." No, it's not that simple anymore. But it's fun for somebody like me. It's fun for Italian wine. If you have range, it's great. Among other things, Italians for some reason have they don't want to admit it. Talk about Alexander de Medici. They have a Black history that they never admit. But the beauty of it is that in the Renaissance, they drew pictures of everybody.
Exactly.
So that's how we see and we know, okay, he was the Duke of Florence, right? You have the pictures, you have a ton of it.
And that piece is, from a historic standpoint, it's so pivotal, because I don't think a lot of people understand. Yeah, you kind of touched on it earlier when you talked about Italy being a whole country versus back then, each Florence had a king or a duke.
That's right.
Naples had a king or a duke.
That's right.
Every different little demographic had their own kingdom, so to speak, and they fought.
Yep.
They fought.
Yeah, Florence and Siena fought for many years. They had one war that lasted for well over 10 years.
Exactly.
Yes. And it's only like an hour apart, even less than an hour. Yeah.
And to see it come together, but the Medicis,
yes.
And now that you talk about your banking piece, I was like, oh, this all fits.
That's right. That's right. It does. So I see you see that angle. And for me, yeah, it does. It fits very well.
Wow. Huh. The Medicis was a woo, that whole thing.
Right. That's right.
And
they still have the money. This is what obviously became the Antinori. So if you've ever drunk an Antinori, you're talking about the descendants of the Medicis.
Wow. And they just infiltrated all the kingdoms outside of Italy.
Oh, absolutely.
The French, the Great Britain,
yes,
royalty, all of those, and it's just unbelievable.
At some point, was it the book Guns of August? The book Guns of August talks about this incestuous relationship. I think somebody died, and all the people who came to the funeral, it turns out they were so related, and they were all like these princes who were related to this. Used to be much like Africans. The royals, it became a thing. It showed appreciation for the other village to have you marry our royals. And this is what Europe was for a long time. They never talk about that, but it's why the Windsors are part German, and all of that. And yeah, I keep going on, but yeah.
That's one of my favorites. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So please tell us about your label.
Yes. So, since I, I'm going to lace the story and then I'll talk about the label. So since it all started when it became obvious that eventually I'll move back home. And then it was coinciding with Mom's 70th birthday. So what my brothers and I did when we go to Italy about 3 times every year.
Yeah, brothers, how old? Okay, my bad.
If you go on my Instagram, you see pictures of my brothers.
Will do.
But when we went to Italy, we decided, hey, why not buy about 200 bottles of wine of different kinds for Mom's birthday. It was in October. Mom's birthday was going to be in December. So then we could ship them and they would be here in time for the birthday. And that's what we did. It was the early beginnings of, for me, testing the market, seeing what people like, mostly aunts and uncles. Obviously, some of the wines my aunts would swear by. They're like, hey, this wine made me sleep so well, all along you're getting feedback on why they like something, all that stuff. So then I carried it over into bringing a number of bottles in for sale the next Christmas. And then I went even deeper. I set up the wine club, Africa Wine Club, and it's very exclusive. I don't have a shop. I just deliver wine to wine club members. So I've been doing that, but obviously to control the narrative, to control the story. When I find something that our wine club members like, I don't want to be selling somebody's story. I want to put my own story on it.
Excellent.
So I came up with the first bottle, which is a Primitivo, under the Tatavi brand. Tatavi, it sounds Italian, but it's actually what my dad's name was when we were growing up. It's Tatavi means young father in my language, from the Volta region of Ghana. So So yeah, it was a good. I socialized with my brothers. They were like, yeah, Tatavi is right. So we went with it. We have the first 3,000 bottles of a Primitivo here, and then we doubled down. Um, Again, we bring other things in when people like it. Then we want to own it. We want to own that story. We want to own that narrative. We want to own a brand. My goal eventually is to own a vineyard in Italy. Um, I get offered every time I go, do you want to take over my vineyard? I'm not ready yet. But but soon the goal is to do that. So then I wanted to make it meaningful. So then I bought art pieces. Um, since I've been back here, one of the things I've gotten into is the art scene and all the art. So I bought a piece from one of these very popular Ghanaian artists. His work sells in Europe for tens and tens and thousands of dollars.
Nice.
He comes from close to where my grandma lives, so I was able to talk to him in my language and got a village discount. So the second label I put so the first label was just bland. I just wanted to get the wine out, but I wanted to make the wine labels meaningful. So then the first one was I put the art on it, and the Italians who bottled the wine were like, "Listen, we've produced so many bottles and so many labels, but this is the prettiest label we've ever made." The art piece itself is very colorful, very beautiful. I wanted it to represent um, the color of our part of the world. So yeah, and then we wanted to do another one. We had brought in a rosé here, a sparkling rosé that was just doing very well. Over here in this market, once you go past Moet, most people don't even know, right? But Moet is it shows that you're doing well, da 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 da. So but there's nothing beyond that. You want something that they can access easily and they can taste a lot of it and train their senses, which is what my goal is in this market. Is that something that you can afford to drink a bottle every day for my wine club members, right? Maybe it'll be a little obnoxious to be drinking Moet every day, but you can keep the Moet for the birthday party. But this is something you can have every day with whatever meal you're having. So opportunity to do the third label, and that's where I decided to bring some of the history into it. And I could go on and on. But anybody can Google Alexandro di Medici, the first Duke of Florence. They call him Il Moro, the Moor. And he's going and on. The story itself is very interesting. His father went on to be a pope in the Catholic Church.
Like one of the first popes.
That's right.
I'm telling you, I love that whole story.
And then they talk about his mother was a slave, and is there any history of that? They talk about all these. Of course, they don't want to. In the Renaissance era, when they were defining themselves to be, redefining themselves to align with what is European, then they had to tell a story, right? Said his mother was a slave. I don't believe that all the Black people in Europe at the time were in any kind of slavery, but it just as the time goes on, you don't want to admit that you love the Black woman, right? So it's still a thing in Italian culture where it's a delicacy, but you don't want to admit that this is where you are. But yeah, so I wanted to remind them. I want them to Google it. I want to put it on the bottle.
I love it. Oh my God. But
so, that's what I did.
If Europeans could erase the whole existence of the Moor occupation, they would. Because the Spaniards for sure too. So
of course, and this is the divide. Again, when they talk about the more they talk about the South, But then they don't mention this guy, the Medici, whose mother was black, right? They don't mention that. They try to hide the pictures. When I studied Renaissance art, his wasn't in it, you know. But yeah, I mean, they try to say the color is in the south, but then you have Florence, which is very much northern Tuscany, you know. But yeah,
Wow.
we will remind them.
Exactly.
Kodjo, that is so fascinating because, you know, okay, first of all, they don't teach this in school.
Of course not.
And two, if some people had their way, you would think that African culture, Black culture only happened on the continent and maybe in the United States. Like Europe doesn't have any footprint of Black culture at all. It may be in South America. That's it.
Yeah, that's what they teach you, and then you find out a whole lot. I mean, Picasso literally just copied a lot of African art and presented it. You know, he became their hero and what have you. So you know, I just like the little ways we can use our little power to incrementally remind them of some of these things, and they can do whatever they want to do with it. But yeah.
So how do we get this world sweet to Akla? Damn feet, I'm loving every bit of this. Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry, Sarita. Go ahead. I know you got a program. My bad.
I know we need an Italy trip.
Yes, God.
We should.
Italy and Accra. I gotta get to Accra because I gotta.
That would be so dope.
I gotta get to Gore. I gotta get to the. I gotta do. Oh my God, drinking your wine. Oh my God, can you imagine?
Yes.
Like this.
How about I'm ahead of you? How do we get your wine? Like, can that happen? Do we need to order it? You have a website? How's that work? Can we just join your wine club?
Right, because I'm about to do it right now.
Well, so many people from outside Ghana and the continent have been trying to join. I tell them there's no benefit to
what
them.
You mean?
Because what are you gonna
about Kodjo?
If you join the wine club, you're just gonna be a member, but you can't attend the things that we do that bring all of that, right? You can't get the wines at a discount and all of the benefits that come with. So I'll just take your money. But then
we need an importer. We need to find an importer.
So if you do, then we have to originate them from. So I can put 3 bottles of it in my suitcase when I'm coming back and ship them to you guys individually as a personal thing. But I can't ever ship, not even by DHL, ship Italian wine that comes into Ghana to the US.
Okay.
The US gonna be like, well, we don't want this over here.
Travesty.
They want to get their coins.
That's right.
We just figure out how they get paid. That's all.
Exactly.
Wow.
I like your insights, by the way, Leslie. You're always thinking about the other angles. It's always interesting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been wonderful.
Oh my gosh, this
so
is great.
It's been great. It's been great to talk to you guys. I'm looking forward to sharing several bottles of wine with you guys soon.
Of course.
After all of this is done, whether it's in Accra, DC, or wherever, hopefully we stay in touch and we can drink some stuff together. Italy, yes. Italy, you guys should come along. I mean,
Italy 2022.
I'm telling you.
Come along. You should come. Because now I import so much of their wines, I get offered all these beautiful estates. They're like, you can come stay however long you want.
Wow. How many people do you have in your wine club so far?
So it's mostly local, and I put it on hold because of the COVID, because we can't meet. The benefit of it is the connection with other people.
Sure. Yeah.
And the interaction and the exchanging ideas and experiences. If you can't do that, then they just order and I register them. So I would say I have a little less than 100 right now.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
But it could be more. It could be more. It could be more. But we're holding off until everything is back and we can actually get everybody else, together. So
yeah, I get that.
Oh,
All right. So this part of our show, it's going to be a little fun. So we'll ask you like 5 random questions and you just say whatever pops in your head.
Sounds good.
And the first question is for everybody. What is your favorite type of pasta?
Oh. Ooh. Yikes. Oh
So
my God. I'm from New Jersey. God, that's the hardest question.
Mine is tagliatelle.
Okay.
Tagliatelle.
I
With
love
parsley
tagliatelle.
mushroom. Yum.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Oh gosh. I would have to say, for me, if I have to eat it every day, it would be shrimp scampi.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, I'm pasta ignorant. So I like the pasta. I know this sounds funny. In Thai food, the drunken noodles, the real fat noodles.
Oh, you like those? Okay.
Yeah,
So
I don't know what they're
spaghetti?
called.
So spaghetti? You like spaghetti?
No, it's not spaghetti. it's
So you like
not
spaghetti.
I know what spaghetti is. I do know that much.
The flat ones, they're like wide and flat.
Yeah, they're wide and flat. Yes,
Yeah.
I like
I
those.
know what you're talking about. I forget
Yeah.
the name of that.
I don't
pasta,
know the
but,
name of
Fettuccine.
it either.
Yeah.
No.
Shut up, Tanisha.
Yeah.
They're
They're
bigger,
thick.
yes.
They're really
Yes.
thick. Yeah.
Yes. Pappardelle.
Oh,
I
that's a
think
good
that's the name of it.
pasta.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
That is
love that.
It's a bigger. It's like that, like what you're
Yeah.
describing.
Mm-hmm.
Tanisha, what's yours?
Oh, mine is super basic. It's lasagna.
Okay.
Because you can do so much with it. Red sauce, white cream sauce,
Right.
vegetarian, a whole bunch of meat, just cheeses. I mean,
Yeah.
the options are kind of
the home
endless.
of lasagna is Bologna. So when you get out there, you would have all you can eat.
I've not been to Bologna, but it's on the list.
Yeah.
Very nice.
My favorite pasta is orchetta.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I love that.
I do know what that is.
I don't have it very often, but the first time I had it, I was in college and I was at the Olive Garden. I was like, wow, this is good. And I've been stuck ever since.
But another good one for me is tortellini too, because I like the cheese.
Yeah.
You do a good cheese in a tortellini and it's
Yeah. This next question is also for everybody. If you look at Kodjo's Instagram, he is the sharpest, classiest dresser. I mean, hands down.
Okay, hold on.
From the handkerchief to the blazers. I mean,
I have my daggone glasses.
like
Well,
sharpest
Instagram.
dresser. Yeah. So my question is, what is your go-to accessory? And Kodjo's gonna go first.
It has to be the pocket square.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very classic.
Yeah.
Very classic.
Yeah. Makes it pop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kodjo, I have a fashion question for you. You are very fashionable. Men are starting to wear the lapel pin with the little flower on that. What do you think about that?
That's okay. People are making it into like they're supporting different causes and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay if that's the thing that speaks to, to them. I like the variety that the pocket square brings to my dressing. So yeah. No, it's all pretty
I
good.
thought you were going to say pocket square or socks.
Yeah, my socks game is pretty tight.
Yeah.
As well. But the pocket square is very obvious, right?
All right. So what about you guys? What's your go-to accessory? Like you need it when you leave the house.
clothes. Oh, I'm sorry. You want specific. Okay.
Have to wear earrings.
Okay.
Same earrings for me too.
Earrings. Yeah.
Yeah. Earrings for me, y'all know I like hoops, but I also cannot leave the house without a bracelet.
Me too.
Some sort of bracelet, something on my wrist. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Bracelet. And I like to stack my bracelets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can go without a bracelet, but not without earrings.
No,
Well,
I get it.
Wear stud, so that don't change.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next question. All right, y'all. If you received $6,000 today, what would you do with it?
I was thinking about it because I knew the money was, we were up in the money.
All right, holler back when we get to 10. That's when it's fun.
Pay off some bills.
Stop being so responsible.
So responsible. Very responsible.
Like, what are you doing?
I really want to, so I might as well take down some of these bills and
because they still gonna be there after you do that. So like, and then you like, man, I got it, and then it went away.
Well, that's very responsible.
Right. You're not gonna just sell one Yerman bracelet?
I got enough of those already.
Okay, what's the new stack? One Hermes bracelet? What are we stacking next?
I got those too.
Well,
so now I gotta get rid of some of these. So when Kodjo come to I can find business class at a minimum.
There you go.
So I gotta get rid of some of these bills. I'll be like, here you go. I'm gone.
I like it. I'll buy some more wine. I'll buy some wine.
So you would buy Italian wine?
Mostly,
okay.
but I could throw in a thing. I like the process of sharing the discovery of wine with other people. So whether it's my parents or some of the restaurants I go to, the owner is gonna just make time just to drink some of this wine with me. It's great.
That's beautiful.
So yeah.
What about you, Leslie?
I would have the 50th birthday party I never had.
Oh, yeah.
I would set it off with that.
Oh, yeah. That
and would you have your go-go band at the
almost definitely.
Okay. Just
yes,
checking.
Yes. In rotation.
Okay.
In rotation.
Yeah. I see you. Tanisha, what about you?
I'm gonna buy wine, but one like baller wine, like a bottle of DRC.
Okay.
Maybe I'll share it with one other person. And then if there's any money left over, then I'm gonna get Botox.
Oh, really?
No, I just wanted to see what y'all would say.
Oh my God.
Lipo. We're getting the works done.
Oh my goodness.
That would be a down payment.
And then not even a down payment after I bought a bottle of DRC.
Right, exactly.
Wow. For me, I think I would finally start a wine library. Yeah, no, I don't collect wine. I buy it to drink. I like to drink and I like to share opinions and pair it with things and all of that. But I think I would officially start buying bottles that I can put away and age and create a library.
Nice.
That's what I would do.
Excellent.
Okay, next question. Do you have a celebrity crush?
How much time we got on the show?
Right, exactly. Do you want our top 10 or how do you...
Right.
Top 5 to make the show a little shorter?
So who's going first?
I will start.
Okay.
Okay, so this is sad. I don't know his real name, but he plays Shadow Moon on American Gods. Is my newest celebrity crush. But I don't like the new hair he has going on, but I can
his hair is weird. His hair is weird.
I don't like the new hair, but yeah, he is my he's my new celebrity crush.
Yeah. Ricky Whittle.
Ricky Whittle is
Ricky Whittle.
I don't know.
Amazing.
I gotta look this up.
I don't know who he is either.
And he is English.
Is he really?
Girl.
So no one's American anymore. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's even better because then he can just talk real fancy to me and I'll just be like, yes.
Well, Tanisha, who is yours? Because I know you have a handful.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I don't even know who to start with. It changes weekly.
Just give me one.
I love LaRoyce Hawkins from Chicago PD.
Yeah.
He is not a secret.
Yeah. But
and also, no, I'm kidding. No, it's not.
Do you have another? Do people know who LaRoyce is?
No.
Not my problem.
Stop it.
Look him up. Also like Nicholas Pinnock from For Life. I mean, I know him from other things.
Oh, okay.
Him. I'm trying to think of ones that aren't like the common that everybody names ones.
Well, if they're crushed, they're crushed. Because mine is common as all they come.
Well, who is yours? Idris.
Denzel is always
okay.
All
right.
Or she's gonna say somebody we ain't know. Because what was that question we asked one time and Glenda said somebody, we were all like, who is
y'all ain't know who? Because they probably older than y'all.
I
mean, I wasn't gonna say that part. I was just saying we didn't.
I got you.
You said that part, right? I'm like, you said that.
Kodjo, do you have a celebrity crush?
Oh, I do. For a long time, it was Halle Berry, but I think I have a real chance at Sanaa later.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, she's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. She is. She's
gonna like me.
Yeah.
We all agree, like, yeah, she's beautiful. Like he would have cared if we had been like, oh, her.
Right.
Still gonna be like, I still got her picture up in my room. Like,
and then when she hears this podcast, she's gonna be like, oh, let me look up Kodjo.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, with the pocket square?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just need to meet Stan and convince Stan to meet Sanaa.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Mine is actually a girl crush right now. It is Lupita. When she posted that video with the fruit on her head and she was sort of like dancing in a circle, I said, girl, you better work it. So yeah,
so
Lupita
just trying not
is
to
my
get in
girl.
trouble with her married self.
Right.
Have you listened to this podcast before? You know I will name a name.
I'm going to say girl because Alan be
I'm married.
Now.
I'm not blind. Don't do that.
Alan be listening now, so I can't. He's actually right here on my left.
Oh my gosh. All right. Last question is for Kodjo. You are packing for a trip to Italy. You will lead a 5-day wine tour. What are you sipping while you pack, and what song are you playing?
So obviously Afro beats of some kind, Wizkid, and that's a song that Jara was Wizkid, the one that Lupita was dancing to. I saw that video too.
Yeah.
But I saw that video too. But I have my so definitely Afro beats of some kind. I like Afro beats, and then what am I drinking? I'm probably drinking one of my wines, but I get so these days when I did the presentation for the Italians, I get a lot of free samples, and it's always fun to taste them and give feedback. Right now I'm tasting on IG on Friday with one of the 7th generation, I think, of Marchesi Barolo. It's a beautiful wine. I'm tasting the Barbaresco and the Barbera and the Barolo with them. So I get the pleasure of tasting like very fine wines these days, and likely I'll be drinking one of those samples that get shipped to me to include on my wine club list.
Nice.
I love it.
Yep.
So Kodjo, this has to be one of my favorite interviews. This was great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tell everybody where they can follow you.
So you can find me on Instagram at Wine Kodjo, Wine Kodjo, and you see my love for wine and increasingly African art as I collect a lot of African art. So yeah, just chat me, follow me, ask me questions. Let's chat.
Nice.
Yeah. And what time are you going? You said, are you going live on Friday? When you say Sabarolo?
Friday, yes, I'm going live on Friday at noon GMT or 1 p.m. GMT, which is gonna be too early for you guys. But you can catch it on my IG.
Okay.
But it's, when I get opportunity to do these, it's just great. It's usually like 10 minutes, but it's usually fun, and I try to make it very fun. It would be good to. A lot of people end up watching it later, and they enjoy it. So catch it later if you can.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, girls. Anything else you want to share before we go? Leslie, you got anything coming up?
Oh, we have Wine Wednesdays, and this is not me sponsoring this, but the Urban Connoisseur, Marsha Jones, is having her first international wine summit, and she's featuring all African-American winemakers this weekend. So if anybody is interested in, and she's also, if you're interested in getting the wines too, I don't think it's too late for you to get the wines. You can sip along with her, but she has a really diverse panel over Friday, Saturday, and then she has a Sunday brunch. And because she's on the West Coast, it's in the afternoon for us. So if you got stuff to do on the weekend, you can sip along in the evening and still not miss anything.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And where is this? Is this on her website, or just look up International Wine Summit?
Look on her website under the Urban Connoisseur.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Tanisha, anything? Wine School Dropout dropped.
Wine School Dropout dropped Friday. First episode came out. We interviewed the guys from Beer and Ales Row, Patrick and William. It's a fascinating interview. They talked about how they came up with the idea and then developed a business in another country being France. They have champagne and cognac brand, and they also want to have hotels and water and make it a full lifestyle thing. So it's interesting. They were really good. Yeah, so check it out.
You said hotels and water. They're doing a bottled water. I mean,
they want to do bottled water.
Wow.
To add that to their list. Because champagne and cognac was not enough. So they're like, yeah, I'm just going to do water. And hotels, yeah, add that on. I was like, okay.
Oh, okay.
My. Well, that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining the Swirl Suite today, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you think. You can tweet us, hit us up on Instagram, send us a DM, or send us an email at swirlsuite@gmail.com. Enjoy the rest of your week. Cheers.